which is, again, I've used other asynchronous tools before, but it just required a lot more steps. So now it's like so much easier to go from like, hey, they're not going to be a client. This is not going to be that interesting of a relationship, maybe, but the thing that I just said or they just asked me, I think we can turn that into something cool. And then the other thing I will say is it's not a downside, but I still find it very annoying when people get on and they use text and they don't speak. And it's almost like I feel like I've got like blinders on, or like somebody, like there's somebody cut out one of my senses. It's like I can't hear their voice. Like I don't know what they're actually saying. So, but that's a me thing, not a platform thing.
That's super interesting. Well, and know we're really coming up against time here. If anyone has a last minute question, feel free to ask below, but I'll ask one last question. Y'all Ari, you were using another tool before, came to Carbon Voice. And then for Phil, I think you started with Carbon Voice. What kind of brought you to Carbon Voice, and why is it relevant for async coaching?
Travis, you reached out to me on LinkedIn and asked if we could have a meeting or something, and I responded with my link to my other asynchronous communication platform. You're like, well, no, actually, I want you to try this one. Um, so that, I mean, I saw the benefits immediately, and I can tell everybody listening that like I have used a lot of different platforms, and this is not WhatsApp, it is not iMessage, it is not any of those platforms. There are 1,000 ways that this is different and better. And so, yeah, you did a great job bringing me over. And honestly, I'll tell you another thing, to your credit, you have done such a great job of taking my suggestions for features and implementing them into the app. And that, to me, is like a really great vote of confidence, because the other tool that well, I mean, I already mentioned it before, but Voxer, which I was a huge Voxer person for a long time, talked to the CEO for years. I have made dozens of suggestions and not one of them has ever been implemented. They're just not focused on innovation the way that Carbon is. And I think that that's really important. And also, I will say that one of the litmus tests for me in general of any kind of platform that I'm going to use, doesn't matter, project management, CRM, anything, is does it have a good Zapier integration? Not just because I want to use Zapier, but because to me that is suggestive of a mindset of the people running the company in terms of how open they are and how innovative they are to connect with other tools and really make it something that's integrated into the way that we work.
That's awesome. Any particular, I mean, you said there are some benefits, any particular features that you find useful in coaching? Like the day-to-day workflow?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, well, and this is, we didn't have ChatGPT 3 years ago, but I do have a file on each of my clients in ChatGPT, and it's so much easier now to just quickly grab the transcript or the summary and put it into that client's thing and be like, here's the latest update. That workflow is just so much more simple. And then, of course, the Zapier integrations, right? So I've got my broadcast can turn into a newsletter. My ideas can go into my Trello. Like I've said this, in a couple different posts, but it's not just a voice communication tool. It is a true like voice powered productivity powerhouse.
Cool. What about you, Phil?
So I actually came to you guys through a friend. We've been talking a little bit. He's in the coaching industry, and there was I think we've been talking about our own kind of productivity and stuff, and he said, "Oh, there's this thing over here that you may never have heard about." And I know he had a brief conversation with you because you tend to talk to people that and you're on the platform. And then I just started using it a little bit with my team, just to kind of test it, see what was going on. Immediately, the thing that struck me was the AIs and the transcripts. I mean, that is really the most useful thing. I can go back to conversations easily. I can get, if I have a 20-minute conversation or 20-minute voice message to listen to, I can get a bulleted summary. So I understand what it is that, that was being talked about. And I can then, I can hit record, go into the bulleted summary and be going through the points that the clients talked about, and know that I'm not going to forget anything, because sometimes my brain will get distracted. ADHD brains do. So that's been you know, instrumental really in the in the shift, I would say, for me. I really enjoyed that. I'd mirror what Ari said as well. You know, we've been talking about features and those kinds of things. You know, you guys are very open to that kind of conversation, and also willing. We are having a conversation backwards and forwards about, you know, a couple of things that that I've suggested, and at least one of the things that I requested over the last month has you know, has came on board actually very quickly. So yeah, I mean, that's been a really good a really good engagement. But yeah, so to me, the transcript is where I'm at. It may be that, you know, as time goes on, I'll start doing more with Zapier as well. But at the moment, you know, I'm probably not at that point.
Awesome. Well, I know we've got a little bit over time here. Really appreciate your perspective, Ari and Phil. This has been awesome to kind of hear about it, and looking forward to more and more people learning about it as